Maisie, it's lovely to see you here on Flixton City again, as always. Now, we're just after the premiere of your new movie, The Falling, in which you're the lead actress in your first big film. How did that feel?
Absolutely amazing. Very nerve-wracking, but yeah, I'm really, really glad that the final piece was as good as we hoped it would be. And yeah, everyone's really enjoyed it so far. So yeah, it's exciting.
And of course, there's a quite a big cast in this film, isn't there? Mainly young actresses, because it's set in an all-girls boarding school in 1969. You've got a very close relationship, close friendship with the character Florence Pugh plays, Abby. Your character's called Lydia. Now, how did it feel, kind of being the more experienced person leading that cast of newcomers? Whereas when you started on Game of Thrones many years ago, you were that newcomer, weren't you?
Yeah, no, I mean, it was really, really exciting to have that sort of experience behind me. But honestly, on set, you wouldn't have known that the other girls are very new to this. They all behaved very professionally. They all seemed to know exactly what they were doing, even if they didn't. Florence was absolutely amazing. This was the first role that she ever got. And, never thought honestly about acting, and never thought that this would kind of all come from just one audition at school, and has done absolutely brilliantly. And then from then, all the success that's come to her from it, she's just handled it all amazingly, and I'm so proud. And she was so nervous, but yeah, she's done really well, as of all the girls. They were just really great on set, and it didn't feel like they didn't know what they were doing or anything like that. They would sometimes have questions and things which I was completely happy to answer, but apart from that, it felt like it was like a really group kind of effort.
And you're a great on-screen team, all of you, definitely. You really work well together. You also all lived, which I guess helped with that on-screen friendship bonding, in the same house together, didn't you, when you were filming? What was that like?
It was manic, but do you know what? Honestly, I was really nervous about it at school. Like, I had a few like female friends, but I was kind of very intimidated by a lot of girls, and I was worried that it was going to be the same. So honestly, when they first said like we'd like you to all sort of stay together in one big house during the course of shooting, I was immediately quite apprehensive. But when I got there and met all the girls, and we had lots of rehearsals beforehand and lots of fainting rehearsals and things like that, when we got there, it was absolutely amazing. And every evening we'd choose on what we were going to have for dinner, and in the morning what we'd do for breakfast, and the weekends we'd all go out, and then we'd do our lines together, and we'd watch movies, and it was just amazing. And we all did have our own space as well. A few of the girls shared rooms, but that definitely helped with like kind of the bonding process. But yeah, to just be with these girls when we had come to say goodbye, it was really hard. Yeah, and then even like we started staying in a hotel towards the end of the shoot. We were in different locations, and every night we'd like go into one of the girls' rooms. We'd all just sit there and watch like Strictly Come Dancing or something. So that was like absolutely amazing. And yeah, they were like a really solid group of girls, and we've become really close friends.
Oh, that's good to hear. You mentioned fainting rehearsals there. Now, for people who haven't seen the film yet, of course, we just had the premiere, there's a fainting epidemic in this school, isn't there, in the movie? Tell me, what did those fainting rehearsals involve, and did you ever get hurt?
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of cuts and bruises from various like floors that we fainted onto. During rehearsals, we basically just learned how to not hurt ourselves. But when you put that kind of into practice, and you're fainting off hitting tables, or you're fainting into chairs or things like that, it was you did get hurt every now and then, but it was quite exciting, and we all like doing our own stunts. So, but yeah, the fainting rehearsals was like probably one of the weirdest experiences ever, but so helpful. And yeah, we all really enjoyed it. And then we'd also sort of take that back home, and then we'd all be like fainting on the stairs or like fainting here. And yeah, one of the girls that stayed with us, called Amelia, who's featured in the film, but not a named character, she stayed with us too because she was traveling so far. She didn't come to the fainting rehearsals, so I remember one evening us all just being on the landing, like teaching her how to faint, and just sitting there thinking, this is the weirdest thing ever, this is my job. But yeah, it was really great, such a different experience.
Now, that'll have to go on your CV, won't it, with your talents alongside dancing and swordplay, fainting.
Exactly, on my little spotlight page, can faint.
At will.
Yeah.
Now, you also get to sing in the film, don't you? A little bit. You do get a little singing in there. And of course, we have heard you sing before, the Game of Thrones tune on the on one of the DVDs, haven't we, for the show? And what was it like actually singing with other people there watching you?
Well, I mean, throughout the course of the shoot, Cara Morley, our director, she had a playlist of songs from '69 that we all sort of listened to and kind of represented different points in the story. So depending on what scene we were shooting that day, we would play a different song. And myself and Flossie used to just sing all the time. Florence, we used to sing all the time on set, and like when we weren't shooting or we were waiting for lighting, we'd all just be led there chilling, singing different songs. So when it actually came around to doing it, it was really quite exciting. And yeah, all the little scenes where it's kind of just music over the top and we're just chatting or just walking or just messing around. Like, it was so nice to genuinely have that sort of chemistry with someone. And sometimes it's so awkward when they're like, okay, just like banter with each other. You're like best friends, and you sit there with someone that you don't really know and don't really like, and you've got to try and pretend that you've known each other forever and you're best friends. And that was what I was honestly really, really worried about, because their relationship is so intense and, you know, so close, that I really wanted someone I could honestly piss around with, and I really found that with Florence. And yeah, I'm just so glad that those scenes came across the way they did, because it would have felt so weird to have those close scenes with someone that I wasn't close with.
And so how was it then kind of reuniting last night for the premiere after a long time, I guess, since you wrapped the movie?
It was absolutely amazing, and I'm just so proud of her. And she, throughout the shoot, she was very nervous, didn't have a clue of how good a job she was doing. And I'm just so pleased of all the kind of great press has come towards her. And when I saw her yesterday before the premiere, and she had her lovely jumpsuit on and her hair and makeup all done, and I remember saying, like, back when we were shooting, like, your life is going to change. And she's got such a beautiful voice, singing. She can play guitar. She's such a talented girl. I said to her, like, your life is going to change. And we actually, earlier this year, went to the X-Men premiere. And that was the first carpet that she ever done. And there were lots of my fans there screaming. And I remember saying, like, one day, like, this is going to happen to you. And I think when we were there yesterday and loads of people wanted her photo and wanted to speak to her, she just slowly started to believe that this is something that she could do with the rest of her life, and I'm just so happy for her.
Oh, that's lovely to hear. I mean, you can see that you're both great in the film. You work very well together. I can see that, you know, this could be like for her, like Game of Thrones was for you, and this is your big, you know, your first leading role in a big on-screen movie as well. So it's fantastic. Young British actresses kind of really going forward there. It's fantastic to see. Now you've got lots more coming up as well, haven't you? As well as The Falling, which I think is going to come out next springish, I think is being the date. Yeah, April at the moment. You've also got The Devil in the Deep Blue Sea, which is in pre-production at the moment, isn't it? Tell us a little bit about that. Gosh, more of you on the big screen.
Yeah, no, very exciting. So The Devil in the Deep Blue Sea, they sent the script over, and it immediately intrigued me, and it is such a different character and such a wonderful story. And just, it's so lovely to be asked to do another thing in America. At the moment out there, I'm solidly known as Arya Stark, but it would be so great to do other things. And I'm massively into indie projects. I feel like you get the best stories and the best characters out of indie projects. Like, not to say that one day I wouldn't love to do a big feature, you know, a big studio film. That would be very cool. But at the moment, I think me and my mum always talk about the transition between a child actor and an adult actor. And it's so lovely to be approached with these roles like Lydia and like that in Devil in the Deep Blue Sea, these characters that are basically adults written as 17, you know, that have these complex thoughts. Because honestly, there is no time when you think, oh, I'm a kid, oh, I'm an adult. Like, there's a slow transition. I think that's what we're trying to do on screen. Yeah, no, I'm very excited, and I'm very excited about the look of the film as well. My character has a very unique sort of style, and it would be nice to play a role that has a certain look. A lot of my characters are very sort of plain, so it would be nice to sort of step into a role with an accent and with, you know, certain hair and makeup and become someone else. That's really exciting.
And who can we look forward to you working with in that film?
Jason Sudeikis, Jessica Biel, sorry, and I think Justin Timberlake will be doing the music, so that's very exciting too.
Yeah, awesome. And we were at SDCC in San Diego this summer, as you were, and Sam Raimi was there talking about The Last of Us, and he's very keen, as are a lot of people out there, to see you in the lead female role in that film as Ellie. So what are the chances that will happen, do you think?
Well, I had a lunch a little while ago, and we spoke about, the possibilities of me playing Ellie, and that's really exciting, and I would absolutely love to. And it kind of all came about on Twitter a long time ago. The power of Twitter, still never ceases to amaze me. But I went for a lunch and we spoke a little bit about it, and then they announced at Comic-Con that we'd spoken about it. And since then, in every interview, people have been asking me about it. And honestly, I would love to, and I think they would love me to play Ellie also. And that's where it is at the moment. There's no script, no director. It's still very early days for the whole project, but if it all goes ahead soon enough, I think, I would love to.
Are you a gamer yourself?
Well, I'm more of I play with my brother when he's got no one else to play with. I don't know. I like watching people game, but I'm not very good at it myself. But I love the fact that you can get so engrossed in a story of a game, and people say it's just video games. But I think we see with The Last of Us and many other amazing games that you can get so engrossed in the characters and the story, and I love how you can manipulate and change the story to come to different outcomes and things like that.
Now, you mentioned kind of big studio features before, and of course some of the biggest are the Star Wars movie, which are coming back, and you've got Gwen Christie and also Miltos Yorulemu, who's Cyril Florell in Game of Thrones, who are going to be in that movie now. Now, if J.J. Abrams put that call into you, Maisie, what would you say?
I would love to be part of the Star Wars. I remember watching the old Star Wars when I was younger with my brothers and sisters and my dad, being extremely confused. But it would be very, very cool. And I think something like that is so iconic that, it doesn't matter kind of what the outcome of the whole thing is. It's something so amazing to be a part of. But I would love to, and I'd love to work with work on that sort of set with that sort of budget and that kind of that would be very, very exciting. But I don't know. At the moment, I like indie projects too.
How good do you think you'd be with a lightsaber?
Amazing. I mean, I already sword fight, and a lightsaber, I think that's just a step up, and I totally take to that like a duck to water.
And of course, you mentioned last time, one of the last times you spoke about the kind of parallels between Arya Stark and Chloe Moretz's character Hit Girl in the Kick-Ass movies. Yeah. So that made me kind of think, with people like Joss Whedon saying, we need more female superheroes. Would you be kind of open to that sort of thing? What kind of thing would you like to do in the superhero world?
That's really interesting that you should say that, and there's not much I can talk about, but there's actually been a very exciting project and a very exciting group of people who have approached me about a new series. I can't see the title, I'm not saying anything about it, but it's in that sort of superhero vein, in the same vein as Kick-Ass, where the superhero is not super and just has great intentions, and that would not be happening yet. It would be happening in a few years, but something that we've been in talks about for a little while, and I'm really, really, really excited about.
Ooh, sounds intriguing. I mean, would it be, you mentioned Kick-Ass there, which we're all a fan of, aren't we? Would it be that kind of adaptation kind of, is it a comic book adaptation? Or?
No, it was originally written as a graphic novel, and then the woman who kind of had the idea about it, one of her friends said, listen, we should make this into either a movie or a series, and I think they just kind of ran from there. So it was going to originally be written as a graphic novel. It's not based on anything. It was kind of inspired just from walking around Comic-Con and seeing so many women dressed as these almost sexualized female superheroes, and just thinking, if I was a superhero, I just want to wear a hoodie and jeans, and kind of taking that and making it into a superhero that isn't wearing spandex and isn't a sexy Catwoman or that sort of thing. And just something that I really, really enjoyed when she sort of spoke to me about it.
Fantastic. I look forward to hearing lots more about that in future. Keep our fingers crossed. You've got loads of cool projects on the go. Obviously, I've got to ask you a little bit about Game of Thrones. How has it compared going back to shoot season 5 to those previous 4 seasons?
Season 5, not just for Arya, but for the whole story, is a very strong one. And there are scenes that I've gone through and read this year for Arya's storyline and for other storylines that I've just been... I'm so excited to see. And being part of such a massive kind of machine, I don't get to be on set for a lot of scenes that are shot. So just to see how they're going to do it. And I've been usually I read the scripts and I keep it to myself and then I, go on and shoot my bits. But this year, every director, I'm like, what are you going to do for this bit? This bit that's in your episode, how are you going to shoot that? What are you going to do with this? And is that bit going to be real or are you going to CG that? And I've just literally, anyone that I can find, I've been asking questions, all the makeup people and all the prosthetic people, how are you going to do this bit? And it's just so exciting. And I've never been so engrossed into the scripts as I am this year. And after last year's finale, I can't wait for the new year. And that sounds so weird, being part of the show that you're such a massive fan of, but as the show's picking up and getting more intense for every storyline, honestly, I'm such a massive fan.
You sound like a little director in the making.
Yeah, one day maybe. I don't think I could ever handle something as massive as Game of Thrones, but I'd love to do a little indie thing.
What can you tease to people out there who are kind of dying for next year to come around for Arya's storyline?
Arya in the new season, she makes a big change very early on, which is, usually you're excited for sort of episode 9 or episode 10 for your story, and there's this really great bit, but that doesn't happen till episode 7. Or this year, from episode 1, people, for me, I couldn't stop flicking for Arya's scenes, and that's really exciting when you get people's attention from the beginning. That's what I'm looking forward to. So a big change in Arya from the start, and it doesn't happen gradually like it has over the other years.
Wow, fantastic. If you could tell me how you reacted when you saw some of the big scenes in season 4, for example, Oberyn Martell versus the Mountain. That was pretty strong stuff. How did you feel when you watched that on screen?
I was absolutely amazed, and every time you think, Jesus, I just did a really hard stunt scene, I'm so great at sword fighting, you watch a scene like that and you're just oh my God. But so brilliant. And I know that day was really hard. And Pedro on set, they were shooting that in Croatia, and at the end of shooting, it was his final bit, and he ran and jumped in the ocean, and that's really cool. But totally, I can see why that was a long day for the both of them. And it looked amazing, and sometimes you just so wish that you could have been there when they shot it. But then it's also great to have that you read it on paper and then you watch it on screen and just see how it kind of infuses everything. It's great. And
Bran's storyline, talking about family, he's been told that, about the flying, that you will fly. What do you think that means? And do you think warging could run in the family?
Yeah, in the books, I know the warging runs throughout the Starks. So I was I can't wait for, Arya to walk into Nymeria, and then Nymeria left in episode 2 or 3 of season 1. That's really exciting. And I think last year Bran's storyline really picked up, and people for a long time were questioning where it was going to go. And then after last year, they've realized that Bran can be an extremely strong contender. Just because he doesn't have his legs, it doesn't mean that he can't do other things. And that's what I love about the show, is that every time you think, you rule that person off, he hasn't got any legs, it takes a massive U-turn, and all of a sudden he can fly. I'm excited for it all. And I think for a cast member as well, that's really exciting when you get a scene like that. You're not sure where they're going to take it, but it's going to be somewhere really great. Well, I hope so, because the Starks are really not having much luck at the moment.
We've heard that Tom Lashusha, who played Jack and Hagar, is going to be returning. Are you looking forward to working with him again?
That's been rumoured, yes. You'll have to wait and see.
And Gendry, hopefully we're going to see him because we've missed him for a whole season, haven't we?
Exactly, yeah. Joe wrote a really funny status last year, like a tweet just saying still rowing. And I love that. So yeah, Gendry's just still rowing about somewhere, but I think we will see him again. We have to see him again. He's such an iconic, after episode 2 of season 3, I think, we realised a lot about him and that he's a very, very powerful person and he doesn't really know it yet. So either he's got to turn it around and use himself, or someone else is going to manipulate him.
Maisie, it's always lovely talking to you. Lots of luck with all your future projects. Congratulations on the screening and the premiere last night, and look forward to seeing everything else you do.
Thank you very much. It's great to speak to you again.